Welcome to Quest for Peace, a podcast that explores how we can journey towards inner tranquility in the midst of a chaotic world. In an era filled with uncertainty, conflicts, and global challenges, our quest for peace becomes more vital than ever. Together, let's discover how we can create more peace within ourselves, and by doing so, how we can contribute to a more peaceful world. Welcome to Quest for Peace. My name is Saju, and I'm your host. Today, I have a special guest. Her name is Burge Smith-Lyons. She's a founder of Essence of Being Inc. since 1981. She has taught life transformational workshops for thousands of men, women, children, and companies on 6 continents with emotional and spiritual healing, self-development, communication techniques, abundance, team building, and leadership development. She specializes in helping people identify their bubble talk, subconscious negative self-talk that blocks them from achieving what they want in life. She has launched the Conscious Leadership Academy in North America, Africa, Asia, and Europe, and the founder of Healing Forest Foundation. She is a channel of Shamanasta, certified rebirther, hypnotherapist, intuitive healer, ordained minister. Wow, 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 Burge. What an amazing woman you are. To, Today, we are going to be talking about finding your purpose with prosperity and peace. But before we even go there, I want everyone to get to know you. I know you very well. We're friends. So I have been friends with you for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Many lifetimes.
Feels that way. Feels that way. And so I would love everyone to get to know you. How about telling us, how did you start this journey? What made you, do all this beautiful work that you're doing?
Well, first of all, thank you, Saju, for having me. And we are like-minded individuals building a global movement of conscious leaders, empowering others to create a win-win world. And that is what I'm about. That's what you're about. And we are choosing to spread this beautiful, peaceful message and love and intuitive connections and all of those things in the world and making a difference. And so that's why I align with you, and I'm pleased to be here. And I hope that we can have some fun with all of you out there too, because I love doing experiential stuff, and we'll go through a lot of that. But as far as why am I doing this, and thank you for that introduction. It's like, who is this woman? What is she doing? She does so many things, which is true. We build schools. There's so many things. And the reason why I started doing these things about 40 years ago now, 40 some odd years ago, is I was a teacher, and I was a seeker, probably just like you. And I was also in theater, and I was an actor, singer, dancer as well. So I was in the education, but I was also performing and directing. And so I wanted to create something that was for actors to get more in touch with their emotions. So what ended up happening with all the seeking I was doing and all of the brilliant masters I studied with and worked with over the years, I decided to hone that into offering it for just our acting community. And so it kind of blossomed from there into what it is today, like you said, with 6 continents, thousands of people. But it's more about getting in touch with your emotions, your spirit, your connection, your physical, your mental, and all of those things, to be able to express your passion in the world. And I just kept studying, and my driving force has been, just like yours, is to make a difference. So I really wanted to make a difference in the world. And every time I think, oh, this is it, I'm done, I can't do another workshop or play shop or another book or another this, I get all of these warm fuzzies from people that I get to see the effect that we've had in the world, and it keeps me going. So it's changing people's lives.
It sure is. It changed my life.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember post COVID, I think it was in 21, that my sisters convinced me to come to one of your workshops. And I said, nah, I don't need that, and we become spiritually, what's that word? Ego, spiritual ego, right? You think
Oh, right. Mhm.
I've already learned everything. I don't have anything else to learn. I've really worked on myself. But I was dragged to this workshop with you, and I sat there and I looked at you when you got on stage, and I said, what is she going to show me? And then you started talking, and then I said, I love her, immediately.
I love her.
Yes, and we've worked together in so many workshops. We brought you into Infinite Love, to our place, to host several workshops, and it's
Mhm.
been an amazing journey with you. And I've
Yeah.
learned that you keep learning. You don't ever stop, do you? I
Yeah.
mean,
No, I
yeah.
mean, even those of us who have been working on ourselves or going inward and looking at what else can I do and how else can I show up and serve and how can I really live the principles that I believe in. It's really wonderful to surround ourselves. We call it the healing forest, to surround ourselves with people of like mind,
Mm.
to be able to remind us of who we are, that we're innocent, that we're wanted, that we are complete, that we are perfect just the way we are, that we're safe, and that we do make a difference and we're important. And when you find somebody, when you have a tribe like that and you create many, many tribes and many, many influences, and it just expands and expands, and it really does make a difference in the ripple effect, which is one of the things I wanted to talk about was precession and how that works when
Mhm.
people are trying to find their purpose. So people come to me all the time asking me that, what's my purpose? So I love to share all of these things that have made a difference for me. And I continue to learn from others just as well. It's a giving and receiving is the same energy, my friend.
Yes,
And
it
you know that.
is. Yes, it is. But before we even go there, I know when I met you, and you look like this person that has it all figured out. She's up there. And I know after talking to you, you've been through a lot of challenges. And I remember one challenge that you spoke about that I'd love for you to share with the audience, about how you went through a very difficult time at one time. And I'm not going to say anymore. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, how many of us haven't gone through challenges in our life? And
Hmm.
the real challenge is how do we pick ourselves back up and move forward? And, that's where the real courage comes. And that's where the real learning comes from.
Hmm.
If everything's going smoothly, you're kind of like drifting and floating and everything's okay. But sometimes when
Boring.
those challenges come up, right, that's how we
Yeah.
can move through that. And that's something, I call it my Scarlett O'Hara moment, is Gone with the Wind, where she picks up I don't know if you've ever seen that, but she
I
picks
have.
up this rutabaga at the end and she says, I'll never be hungry again. And she makes a decision right then and there and changes the course of her whole life. So those kind of things happen to me frequently. And not long ago, seemingly, I was bankrupt. I had lost my business. I had lost my house. I got divorced. I had a 2.5-year-old son. Uh, and all I had to my name at that point, I'd lost everything, I was just had a car with one headlight and one door that didn't open. And I had to crawl inside the door in order to get to my kid, to my baby.
Wow.
And I kept looking at God saying, I'm adding value. Why is this happening to me? I mean, I basically had nowhere to go. I had to depend on the kindness of strangers, not really my friends, and just kept couch surfing through that and going, why is this happening to me? Have you ever asked yourself that? God, why is this happening to me? I'm doing good works out there. I'm a good person. I'm adding value. And at the time, I was teaching play shops. I was teaching workshops about abundance.
Wow.
I felt like a total fraud. I had lost everything. And here I am, talking about relationships and about purpose and about money and about a lot of things. But I knew all those things that I was sharing and teaching other people. I knew that I believed in it and I knew that it was going to work. And as long as I kept reminding myself and surrounding myself with people who could remind me of who I really was, not this person that I kept looking in the mirror going, what's wrong with you? So it really does take a village. It really does take a tribe or people to support you in that moment to say, you are doing the right thing and you are important. And so I didn't give up. Basically, I didn't give up. And I'll share a story a little later about how I increased my prosperity from that point and just started saying, I'm going to still keep doing this because I do believe in it and I believe in myself. And I know that there's something that's going to come out of this. There's going to be a pony in here somewhere. Have you ever heard that? Where there's a lot of poop in your life? There's got to be so much poop around here. There's got to be a pony. So I kept looking for the pony. And not so many years later, I realized why all that was happening. I have millions in assets. I've traveled the world. I'm teaching on 6 continents live, and thousands of people. My son graduated from NYU. He's traveled the world singing and dancing and acting, and got married, living in Manhattan and California. He's having the life of his dream. I got my husband. I've been together with him now for 27 years, and a very conscious man. And we've been moving through orbiting in love, which I'll tell you about later too. But all of those things happened for a reason. So I could stand here in front of you right now and say, this stuff works. It really works. And don't give up on yourself. And there's so many times maybe that we want to do that and we want to give up. And I just kept on swimming, like Nemo or whatever her name is, Finding Nemo. So yeah. That's why I kept doing it. I kept thinking, the reason why all of that happened is so I could really share my story and say, by giving and receiving and understanding the connection on an energetic level and how to really explore that in a real way, I'm a walking testimony that this works. So keep doing it. So that's why I keep doing it.
Yeah. And I know many times you keep saying, this is it. I'm going to quit now. I'm going to retire, and we won't let you, will we? No way.
No, and let me just rephrase. I'll never not do this because I love it so much. My passion is this, clearly. However, my choice now is really the legacy piece, because at some point I will ascend like everybody else. We just kind of leave and do something else. So I want the work and the legacy and the experience to continue. And so I'm also love empowering other people to teaching them everything I can so that generations and generations can experience these kinds of wonderful connections that we're all doing. And it doesn't have to be just essence of being, and it doesn't have to be just conscious leadership or any of the other things that we do, but just the energy of the essence of making a difference and really shifting the planet and shifting the world of human beings. And no big deal. Just finding peace and prosperity with the whole world, taking scarcity to abundance, taking war to peace, and taking competition to cooperation.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. This is what it's all about. This is why I started this podcast. Everybody's looking for peace. So how do we find peace? And we have to find peace within ourselves before we can find peace outside of ourselves. So there's so much work that needs to be done within ourselves. And I think I've come to that place of kind of peaceful, still work in progress, but doing your workshops and all the work that I've done with you has really, really up-leveled me to a great extent. It's helped me, fly kind of, and especially the last workshop that we did together, the mastery. Oh my goodness. That was an eye-opener. Yes. I did not know I had that much courage and that much drive until I did that workshop. So I hope you keep doing all of that. And talking
I like to call it play shops, Saju. I like to call it play shops, because when you tell people it takes a lot of work, you got to do a lot of inner work, which is true. But the vibration sometimes for work is like, I don't want to do it. So if we say we're playing with our inner work, we're playing with our inner play, if that makes sense. And as I've said all along, for things to change, first I must change. And you have been a testimony that this stuff works too. So I'm honored to be a part of the connection that you've experienced and where you're going. And so you have certainly found your purpose, my friend.
Thank you. I have. Thank you. So let's talk about what we came to talk about.
Purpose.
Purpose. Purpose with prosperity and peace. What does that mean? Find your purpose with prosperity and peace, because we're all looking to get prosperous. Right?
Yes, yes. Well, some people are and some people aren't. It's very interesting. What I have found over the many cultures and many countries that I've worked is that sometimes spirituality and the third dimensional, money and abundance doesn't go together in some people's minds, and in their subconscious they think, well, if I'm spiritual or if I'm peaceful, you think of Mother Teresa and Gandhi, but they were millionaires. They brought in millions of dollars because we're living on this 3D world, and in this free enterprise society that we live in, that's how to play and to be able to be prosperous in that, not just with money, but of course prosperous with love and abundant with connection, your universal divine flow that everyone can tap into. However, if like you said, they have to have the self-love first. That's peace. Then when you have filled yourself up, then you can expand that to others and be a demonstration to others about what that looks like. And that's how you make a difference in the world, is by vibrating that peace, vibrating that love. And if you don't, then you're able to also bring in the relationship with spirit. Okay. So it's a three-pronged, it's a three stools, it's you, others, and connection with spirit. And for me, a lot of people they either don't believe in making money for healing because of different cultures believe certain things around it, but it's an energy exchange. And that's how I try to frame it for people. It's just energy. Money's energy. A hug is energy. There's a lot of energy exchanges that you can have with each other. And it feels, like I said, giving and receiving is the same energy. So many of us feel like that we give, but we forget to receive. We forget to receive the love. We forget to receive the money. We forget to receive time. There's a lot of receiving that a lot of givers and a lot of healers and practitioners forget. And for me, it's the same energy. The more I give, the more I receive. And the more I receive, the more I give. And what that can mean is, it's not that you're taking away from anyone. It's that you are, by the simple act of receiving, you're actually giving something to someone. If you think about it, right? When you're giving a compliment, like if you give somebody a gift and they go, yeah, thanks, whatever, that doesn't make you feel good, right?
No.
But if they say, thank you so much, oh my gosh, this is perfect, I love this so much, so you're giving them something. But when they receive it,
good.
Yeah, give something back to you, so it's a flow. And there's no, if you block giving or if you block receiving, it blocks it. There's no flow. And so it's give as you go and create a flow. And that's one of the things I love to share with people, is that's how I did it. I raised my vibration. That's how I raised my own vibration to prosperity when I was basically living in a van down by the river, kind of a place. I just started giving my way to prosperity, meaning I would give somebody something that I had that they didn't, even if it was $1. And I would give them something and they would receive it. And that gave something back to me, and it allowed me to feel good about myself. It made me raise my own vibration up so that I started appreciating myself more, that, oh, okay, this feels good, that I was able to serve, that I was able to support people, and even if it's a small way. But appreciation and gratitude is certainly the key in raising our vibration up. And so I realized that the more I do that, the easier it gets for me to receive and give, because it's just a flow. It's just a flow to let it go. And I raised my vibration up, and voila. But I keep doing that, and I have to keep reminding people that see, a lot of people have subconscious beliefs around giving, and they have subconscious beliefs around receiving. And especially in the spiritual community oftentimes, but think about it, churches are a big business, right? They're into spirit, right? I mean, temples, it's a business. I mean, there are things that happen that allow yourself to feel good. So if you think about a baby, Saju, when you ever held a baby, I know you have.
Yes. Yes, I have.
And you hold a baby and you say, you so cute, you so cute. You're giving that baby love, right? And you're just love. And the baby, what does the baby do? It just receives. It just receives. It is a natural born. We are natural born receivers. And what does that do for you when you're holding that baby and they receive that love? It warms your heart.
Warms your heart. Yeah.
And it's a flow. It's a continuous flow like that. And so the baby doesn't go, when you're going, you still get the baby doesn't look up at you, go, no, don't do that. Let me park the car for you. Let me wash your clothes first let me do something for you so that I can receive that love. So I know I deserve it. No. But we've learned that, haven't we? We've learned that over the years, that if we receive, sometimes we feel like it's a transaction. Uh-oh, what are they going to want? I don't want to owe anybody anything. I can do it myself. And we learn these things from all kinds of places, from our parents, religion, teachers, culture. And so if we're sitting there to the universe saying, I want, give me this, or I choose this, and I want to create this in my life, and we're also putting up the brake. This is your gas. This is your brake. And if you're driving around with your gas and your brake on at the same time, you don't get anywhere, right? You spin your wheels. And so many of us know how to give up on what we want. Many of us know how to settle. So we let go of the gas instead of the brake. And the brake is our resistance. The brake is the part that's the part where we come in and really work with letting go of that brake, giving you tools to let go of the resistance so that you can have exactly what you choose to have. And so you can afford to make it more difference and expand your impact. And so that's what I tell people. If you want to have an impact, you have to learn how to receive, not just give, because you're giving the universe mixed signals. And so, like I said, people just give up and they say it's wasn't meant to be, not in my lifetime. I'll wait till next lifetime.
With me, with my background, with my religion, that's what we were taught, that you must give, because if you receive, it's a heavy karmic debt that you will have to pay later. So, as soon as someone gives you a gift, you give something back just to balance it. So, so that has been a different lesson for me, to learn to receive. And I'm doing that now, but for years.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am. So, that for years. Now, I have another question for you. You mentioned Gandhi and Mother Teresa, and you said they're millionaires. Can you clarify that? What do you mean by that?
They created millions of dollars. In other words, here's the thing. Ask yourself this: is it easier for you to ask for money and donations for other people or other organizations or other things that you want to have charity for? Is it easier for you to ask for that than it is for you to ask for yourself?
Yes.
Okay. So that is what a lot of people also have an issue with, is like, I can ask for other people, but not me. And so what I'm clarifying is, if you think about Mother Teresa and Gandhi, they created abundance everywhere they went. And we think of them, no, they didn't. They they were living that mentality of not a lot of stuff around them. They didn't have a lot of stuff and all of those things around them, but their essence was bringing in millions of dollars of global movements. So true. They were asking, and then they were influencing others to ask, and they were going to go. There was a lot of commerce going on and cash flow going through. So, it's not necessarily saying they were millionaires and they were out, on their sailboat. But it is a consciousness of that there's enough and that there's an abundance. And for some people, like I said, it's easier for them to ask for others than, again, we are part of the whole. And we forget that sometimes. Now, I know maybe they didn't do without unless they chose to. It was a choice that they specifically made, a choice, and it was something that inspired millions of people to be able to give and to be able to create peace in the world and flow. But there was a 3D essence to it. I mean, there was money having to change hands to feed and do things and live, and all of those things had to happen. So all I'm saying is that for people who are feeling like I have to live in poverty in order for me to be spiritual, I'm just saying perhaps one way to raise our consciousness up with prosperity and purpose and peace is to allow ourselves to be totally fulfilled with everything and vibrate that so that we can demonstrate how to live in a prosperous, peaceful world. And it's, money is just energy. It's what you do with it, right? A lot of people get that subconscious belief about, I don't want to be greedy. Rich people are bad. They misuse their funds. It's not distributed equally, all of that stuff. And so those kinds of belief systems can block us from really stepping into that abundant feeling that all is well and we can share. Because just think about it. If you had $1 bazillion, I know a lot of people that are very wealthy and they do support so many things, and it does continue to flow that way. There are those of us who are like that. You being one of them. You are an incredible. You created this whole infinite love from that concept of wanting to make a difference and wanting to give to people and give them an opportunity to be there and to come and do things. And therefore, it's working. There's more give and flow going on. And so that's what I meant.
Yep. Okay.
There's a
Got
long-winded
it.
answer.
Good. That makes sense. So, how do I find my purpose?
So funny you should ask. A lot of people do come to me for that. And they say, some people come for how do I get, essence of abundance, essence of relationships? How do I communicate better? Leader, how can I be a better leader? How can I just be a better parent for my kid? And then they go into a whole nother level of, okay, if all of my needs are met, now what? So have you ever made a goal?
Yes.
And you made it and you got there and then you said, now what do I do? Right? So we realize that whatever we put out there to say, I want this, or this is my goal, we realize that once we get there, okay, we're not done. So now what? And so that's when that purpose comes up about what is my purpose here? If I keep doing these goals and I keep getting that and I keep going forward, then why make the goal if the goal isn't it? So the reason why is a concept that one of my mentors, Buckminster Fuller, came up with, which is precession. And what that means, it's the effect of bodies in motion on other bodies in motion. So when you drop a stone into water, it's a body in motion affecting a body in motion, and it creates a ripple effect. Yeah.
Right.
Same thing with the earth and the sun, earth and moon. They're two bodies in motion affecting each other in motion. And the same thing is when, for instance, the bee goes out every morning and it has a goal and it's going toward the nectar and it's going nectar, 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 nectar. That's what its goal is. However, the actual true purpose of that bee is to what? You remember? What does the bee do when it steps on all the flowers? You remember that from science class?
Well, it sucks on the nectar.
Yeah, but it's what happens in the grander scheme of things is it's cross-pollinate.
Pollinate, yes.
Right. I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah,
Science class.
It's okay.
But,
been years.
Yeah, I know, right? Science. So cross-pollinates. It cross-pollinates. So, but the bee doesn't wake up every morning and go, I'm going to go cross-pollinate today. No, the bee just goes nectar, 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 nectar. It doesn't know that its true purpose is to create more flowers. So we're like the honeybees. We're like the bees. We're going toward our goal, whatever that is, whatever our nectar is, whether it's love or money or whatever it is. And as we're moving toward that goal, we have an effect. And that effect is our purpose, as long as we're adding value as we're moving. The minute you stop moving, you add no value. So that's why you make goals, is to go forward, to keep moving. And as long as you're moving, you're adding value along the way, then your purpose will absolutely add value. You may never see it. You may never know what that is. However, just know that as long as you're adding value toward your purpose, toward your goal, your purpose adds value. And that's really everyone's purpose at this point. And many of us have been very blessed, and I'm sure a lot of you have, listening to this, and I know you have, Saju, about the purpose, the impact that we've made. We've been very blessed to see what value we have had on people just by what we've done and how we're moving and going toward our goal. And sometimes we forget that, I'm having a purpose just by adding value, by moving toward a goal, toward something. And usually it's a 90-degree angle. Like sometimes we don't even see it. It goes out that way. And so Bucky said that as long as we are adding value along the way, and as long as we are moving, then our processional effect in the world will add value. And just to know that in your heart, and to remember that even if you don't get to see it as it's happening, maybe you'll see it later. Even if you don't know it and you can't talk about it, just know it's happening. That's how important all of us are. That's how we matter. That's how we make a difference. That's how people forget, just really, they think we're so insignificant. Nobody's going to remember me. No one's going to, how can I be, how can I set out for peace and prosperity and purpose? How could I'm here and then I'm gone. But if we could own that and just know that whatever significance we are, we're adding value, that we are not insignificant, that we are powerful beyond measure. And for many of us, we forget that. And so that's why it's really good to have that knowing that, you know what, I might be having a crappy day today, but I'm still kind of moving. I'm getting off the couch. All right, I'll do it. Because we get to see.
Well, that's the most
get to see
important part, right? The most important part
Yeah.
is not to get stuck, is to keep moving. No matter what comes in your way, you just push through, you keep going. And somehow everything usually works out. It works out.
Yeah.
You keep moving forward.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes we do get stuck. And one of the tools I want to share with everybody is, you may have heard this before or not, I don't know, but it's called the Universe To-Do List. It's a really powerful tool. If you get stuck and you don't know what's going to happen and you don't know how, what do I always say? Trust and allow, and
Don't ask how.
That's right. So basically, if you're asking how am I going to do this? How's this going to work? Is this going to, so you can get kind of caught up in all the how dance, okay, or the why dance. And so for me, if you write on the left-hand side all the little things that you have to do today, just write your to-dos on the left-hand side of the paper. And on the right-hand side of the paper, you write all the universe to-do list. And the universe to-do list, you give the universe everything that you don't know how, that seems so heavy and that weighs you down. And you can use words like, help me figure out, take care of my, show me the best decision to make for the highest good for all concerned. Handle my kids. I don't know what to do. Those types of things. So if you say those, the big things that you really don't know how to handle it, you just turn it over. You turn it over to the universe and let the universe do its magic, because the universe has more access that we may not know how to understand yet to be able to handle that. And so the universe is conspiring in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, we all try to say, well, we've got to figure it out. I got to figure all this out. And it just weighs us down. So if we can learn how just to put what we want to do today, just what we're able to do today, and put everything else over there and say, you handle that part, then it lifts the weight up, right? We get a faith lift, I call it. We get a faith lift that, okay, all is well. It's going to be okay. This or something better is going to happen. I always put that on any of the affirmations that I put out there. I say this or something better. And it really does allow me just to kind of be at peace and to be at neutral around things that I haven't figured out yet. And so it's a great tool if you use it because it really works. The caveat is you can't go back and say it hadn't happened yet. Like, where is it? I've been waiting. Come on. Because it's on divine time, right?
Trust and allow, and don't ask how. That's my favorite phrase that I learned from you. And it just caught me right away when you said it right from the beginning. I use it all the time. For me, that's faith for me has always been the most important part of my life. I have had a lot of faith when I usually do give it to the universe, but then we forget sometimes, and then we like to hold on to it and say, well, I can do it. No, how can you do it better than God or the universe or whoever you may call it? I mean,
right.
We can't. So we do our best and leave the rest,
Oh,
So
I like that. Do our best and leave the
leave the
rest.
rest. Yes.
Did you? That's a Saju-ism.
Did I teach you something today?
You just did. I'm
Oh
going to
my
write that
gosh.
down. That's a Saju-ism. What they call about the Burgisms, all the Burgisms. Now that was a Saju-ism.
I learned that from one of the gurus. I can't remember which one. I've been connected with so many when I was in India. So
I know.
do your best.
I love it.
And leave the rest. I love it too, and
it.
whatever circumstances, whatever comes, you do your best and let the rest go. I think it was in the Bhagavad Gita also, the same thing. Krishna said
More
that.
than likely.
So yeah. So I'm really amazed with that. So purpose with prosperity and peace. So you need to develop the prosperity, you need to develop the peace, and then you get purpose. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying through allowing yourself to, number one, make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes are learning experiences. To not be afraid, to have the courage. Comes from French word liqueur, which means heart. So courage is you're committed to something, even though you doubt it, you take action anyway. And that is the definition of courage for me, is commit to something, even though you doubt it, take action. But what that does is it motivates you, even if you're afraid, even if you're not sure, you keep moving. And that's the purpose. That's where you find the purpose and passion of life. And as long as you know you're moving and you're adding value, then that's where you find your purpose. The other part about the prosperity and the peace comes from the knowing that you have self-love, that you love yourself enough to know that you matter. And you're not going to ask another person to try to fill that up, or you're not going to go outside yourself to try to fill that up with the next pair of shoes. A lot of people spend money to avoid pain, because they don't want to look at what's really going on sometimes emotionally. And so the emotions are our guides. And many of us have been hurt. We've been betrayed and sad. We've had a lot of different things happen. And we look at that evidence and say, well, it must be true. And it must be, that's the way it's always going to be. So I always say, look for new evidence. Look for new evidence that that's really not true. And you'll find it. Because I know that if you start looking for something, you're going to find it. If you're looking for your lover that's cheating on you, you're going to find it. If you're looking for your mate that loves and cherishes you, you're going to find it. So my point is, whatever you focus on expands.
Yes.
It gets bigger. It's that reticular activator in our brain. So it's not just this woo-woo kind of concept. It is an actual thing in our brain where it actually focuses on something, and that's what we see more of. And therefore, if we're focusing prosperity and peace and inner love and support and guidance and connection, and we're focusing on that and we're allowing it to come through and receiving it, then it gets easier and easier and easier. So I always use that little thing about the car, about if you're looking for a new car,
Mhm.
what do? You go test drive it. You go look on the internet for different things and saying, I haven't, I've got to find this car. This is a really great car. And then all of a sudden you start noticing that car everywhere where you never noticed it before. You're like, oh, well,
Right.
there's one, there's a Tesla, whatever. And you never really looked at it before. That's your reticular activator in your brain. And that is what we do for anything, that our brain doesn't know the difference between reality, something that we see in front of us,
Mhm.
and what we think. The brain synapses fire exactly the same way. So our brain doesn't know the difference. So it's really important to understand what our subconscious beliefs are so that we can raise them to a conscious level, so that we can shift them if they're not serving us, or keep them if they are. So it's a really powerful lesson, I guess, to understand that we can do affirmations all day long, but if our subconscious is saying we're not safe or we don't deserve it or we're unworthy or any of those things, then those are the ones that are going to win out, because they're the strongest ones. And so we have to align those thoughts together. And that's the work that we do, or the play that we do. And it really brings it up to a conscious level so we can use law of appreciation and law of attraction and all of those universal laws that probably all of you have heard about.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. So you teach so many things. So when I started with you, we did essence of being and passionate
Mm-hmm.
manifest. No, yeah, passionate
Mm-hmm.
manifestation,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
then
Mm-hmm.
mastery. That was first step, second step, third step. And you teach so many other classes. Higher vibes. I've done higher vibes with you. I've been to Italy with you twice.
Yes.
And the
Yes. And
next
you're going on
thing,
the cruise. We're
we're
doing high vibes on the high seas.
exactly in October. So I would, and what do you teach? Essence of partnership, or essence of
Essence of
relationship?
relationships, essence of abundance, essence of relationships, essence of communication, essence of leadership. And we do it all online and in person. And there's so many other things that we do with, shamanasta and bringing in different dimensional kind of learnings. And so, yeah, I teach kids and the parents to
Yes.
learn how to play with each other and communicate with each other. And I feel like if we can teach our young ones what we know now as perhaps adults in our 60s or whatever, so that we can teach them that it's going to put us out of business.
Amazing. But I would highly, highly recommend your program to everyone watching. How can they get in touch with you, Burge?
Well, you can go to essenceofbeing.com, and that shows everything. It shows our Conscious Leadership Academy, our Healing Forest Foundation, which is our nonprofit where we're building schools in Africa. And I teach kids on Zoom in Africa once
I
a
know.
month. So, and that's one of my, I don't get anything for that except the sheer joy of that we're changing kids' lives everywhere. But if you go to essenceofbeing.com, it has all of the different kinds of things you can get involved with in our Conscious Leadership Academy. That would be the first place to start.
Perfect. And also tell us about the membership program that you have now.
It's called Conscious Leadership Academy, and you can go there. It's theconsciousleadershipacademy.com. But it's the tenets of it is integrity, contribution, and purpose. Speaking of purpose,
Mhm.
so what we're doing is it's a way that people can connect on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, live and in person, with different kinds of tiers, and we're supporting people's their message in the world and their work in the world for people that want to be faculty members to teach their stuff. I'm promoting all of this stuff out in the world. Like I said, I'm choosing to empower other people
Mhm.
so that it can spread and be about what they have to offer as well. But it's a way that we have different modules for people online and in person where they can explore abundance, relationships, leadership, and communication. So it's really getting people in touch with how to be a conscious leader.
There is so much. that we can learn from you, from all that you have learned and teaching all of us. It's so amazing. And of
And I'm still
course,
learning.
yes, we never stop. We never stop. All the information is going to, I mean, all the links are going to be in the information, of course. But before we go any further, I have two questions for you. What does peace look like to you?
That
Come on, let's go
I'm a
deeper.
I'm a
Let's go
girl of
deeper.
the I'm a girl of the 60s. Well, and the peace, and what does peace look like to me? What it feels like to me is, if I can, for me personally, is the connection. I feel calm, and I feel really at one. What part of what we share with people is how to connect with every every connection with every being, every universal divine spirit that we can. I don't even know how to describe it sometimes, but it's a knowing, and it's a calmness. And so that's for me personally. If I'm at peace, all is well. It's just feeling like all is well, and to not sweat the small stuff. And sometimes that's hard when you look outside of yourself in the world right now, and you get to see all the things that are not that. It can really shift your feelings and your energy and your space. And a lot of people get really um, sad and frustrated and despair because of all the stuff that's going on in the world. And that, to me, if we can, I guess the second question might be like, what does peace look like in the world, right? Or
Yes,
from
that was my
our
next
own
question.
connection. Of course it is. So we're aligned here. So just the connection that we can be, knowing that all is well, and that um, no matter what, we pray for the highest good for all concerned. And I know that we can demonstrate that, to learn how to play a win-win game in a win-lose world, and to hold our shape, to hold our integrity, like the integrity of steel, to hold our shape and not allow other influences outside of us to influence us off our center. And that's how we can demonstrate to cultures, to people, it's one person at a time. It's writing your books, it's speaking out, it's standing in that knowing and saying, why can't we all just get along? And there are a lot of reasons why people say they can't, or that they feel very passionate about certain things. And I know a lot of people who live on the news. It's like a steady diet of despair. Oh my gosh. It's just, sometimes and I know through the isolation that we had through COVID, and we had through the pandemic and other different things that we've gone through, that we just get so depressed about everything. It just, because many of us are empaths and we feel everything. And so there's a way to be in the world and not allow yourself to feel influenced by that, but to hold your shape and to shine, and you be the beacon. You be the beacon in the light, and to observe things instead of absorb them. Mm-hmm. And if we can learn how to observe what's going on and hold space, hold our shape, and quietly shine our light, then it has influence. And we may never see it, but I feel like that's what keeps me going, and to learn how to play a win-win game, and shifting that around a little bit about, let's play win-win and not win-lose and have a zero-sum game, which a lot of people don't know any different. They don't know how to do that. So I think it's up to us, the light players. We're not light workers. We're light players. We're light players out there doing it. So I think it's our choice if we choose to, and we do enough, right? We are enough, right?
We sure are. We do our best and leave the rest.
There you go.
Yeah.
There it is again.
There it is again. Yeah. You had talked about a quote from someone that you wanted to read out here.
Oh, yes. Bucky.
Yeah.
This is why we keep doing what we do. And this is how we can create more peace in the world, I feel, is you never change things by fighting the existing reality. Okay. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So what we're doing is building a new model of human being, the essence of being, infinite love, all the things that we do. We're building a new model because so many people look at reality and it's not what they want. And you keep bumping up against it. It never changes. It doesn't change. And so what we're doing is making a new model that makes that model obsolete. And that is why 100% for people, 100% humanity, making it work 100% of the time. That is the model that I see and that I hold the vision for on how we can do this together, because we are the ancestors of the future. How about
Correct.
that? Here's a Native American proverb for you. Ready?
Yes.
We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children.
Wow.
So we are the ancestors of the future.
We are.
So think about what kind of legacy are you going to leave for the future? Mm-hmm.
That's so important. That's so important. I'd love to put those quotes in the information section as well, so people can, copy them and remember them, because they're so powerful. And I know you have tons, tons of more of those.
I got a million of them. But yeah.
Well, we'll keep talking. Hopefully you will come back again, and we'll have other topics, because you have so many topics to talk about, and we can't do all of that right now. But I'd love to see you back again soon, and we'll talk some more. And
I have a special gift for everyone out
exactly,
there.
that's yes.
And that way you can stay connected with me as well. If you go to essenceofbeing.com/AFP, which stands for Affirmations for Prosperity. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
It's essenceofbeing.com/AFP. It'll be in the platform here. But if you do that, it'll download. You'll get some free downloads of affirmations for prosperity that really work, and it's a different kind of affirmation that you'll see. But you can download those and use those every day, just to keep you focused on what you want, and what you focus on expands. And so that's my gift to you, and I will receive the knowing that we're making a difference, and that's my gift.
That's beautiful. That's a wonderful gift. Thank you so much. I'm going to go there.
welcome.
I'm sure I've seen it already, but I'm going to go there and look at them again. So,
Okay. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
yeah, definitely download it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Birch. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close today?
Are you kidding me? There's so many things.
I know.
I guess here, I'll tell you what, I'll do another little quote.
Okay.
About the soul family.
Perfect.
Okay. I got it here. Okay. And I think this is important, especially to keep us connected with our tribes and our soul family. Our soul family are those that gather around you in your life, not connected by blood or race, but by energy and essence. I like that word. They bring unconditional love and support at the perfect times, and understand and share the same mission and purpose. And so,
wow,
my invite to all of us is to share that same mission and purpose, is to make a difference, know we matter, and that we're important.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Virg.
Welcome. My pleasure. My purpose.
Quest for Peace, a podcast about navigating outer chaos with inner harmony. Whether you're seeking solace in the midst of life's challenges, or simply curious about the profound connection between inner and outer peace, the Quest for Peace podcast is your guide on this transformative expedition.